Today we hear about the parable of the Good Samaritan, probably one of the most well-known parables. And at first glance, we come to understand its meaning very easily. Here we have this man who was attacked by robbers. He was stripped and robbed and left half dead. And people passed him by, people who should have known better. And this Good Samaritan comes along and takes care of him. And our Lord uses this parable to teach the rich lawyer who was testing him, asking, well, who is my neighbor? Who am I supposed to love? Who am I supposed to take care of? And our Lord, by teaching this parable and using a Samaritan, shows this rich man, this lawyer, and us that our neighbor is everyone we see, whether they are rich or poor, whether they are healthy or infirmed, whether they know better or not. We give. Our Lord comes into this world in this very same manner. He comes into this world when we were enemies. We all know how easy it is to forgive an insult, don't we? It's not. And our Lord comes into this world after humanity had insulted him beyond measure. He comes into this world to forgive and to restore and to heal and to make us whole again and to make our relationship with him whole again. And it is in this spirit, Blessed Theophylact of Bulgaria gives commentary on this gospel reading. He says this man who was attacked by robbers represents all of humanity. And we are attacked by the devil. And the devil strips us of our dignity. He strips us of our worthiness to stand before God. And he injures us. And we are left half dead. Our bodies return to the earth, and our souls are imprisoned by evil. The law couldn't help humanity. The Judaic law could not help humanity. The Judaic Levitical priesthood could not save humanity, because even the high priest who offered sacrifices first had to offer sacrifice for their own sins and then for those of the people. Our Lord, who comes into this world, was rejected. Our Lord, who comes into this world, was spit upon and ridiculed and not accepted. He was cast out of the synagogue. And in the same way as the Samaritan, as Samaritans were not part of the society of Israel, Jesus comes and heals us. And he pours on us for our salvation his blood, representing the wine in today's parable, and the oil of forgiveness. Oil in antiquity was most commonly derived from olives. And olives has a very deep symbolic meaning for Christians, because it was the branch of an olive tree that the dove brought to Noah to symbolize, to show that the flood was over and reconciliation with humanity had been reestablished. And so he comes into this world and dies on the cross so that we may be forgiven. He pours on us oil and wine, forgiveness and his blood. So in this spirit, brothers and sisters, when we hear today's gospel reading, we put ourselves in the position of this man who is the victim of the robbers. Many times throughout life, even after having been baptized, even after having partaken of the body and blood of Christ, we are still attacked by the evil one, who always strives to strip us of our peace, to take away harmony, to rid us of our faith, to destroy relationships, to make us become selfish and prideful. All of us experience temptations. We know this well. And we know what anger and pride does to relationships. We know how difficult it is for us to put others first. In today's parable, our Lord gives us a formula for healthy relationships. He says, first love God, and then love your neighbor, and then you worry about yourself. Our Lord showed us supreme sacrifice, extreme humility in dying on the cross for us, showing us how to love, to give. So, brothers and sisters, when we hear today's gospel reading about the Good Samaritan, or when we see people who are asking for help in any circumstance, we are very much like them. When we come to church, we are too begging for God's mercy. We too are begging and asking for his compassion, for his blessings, for forgiveness, for peace. We too are begging for his help. And he gives it to us freely and lovingly and compassionately. And that should always move us to humility, always acknowledging our own unworthiness before God and before others. And in that acknowledgement, it is easier for us to overcome selfishness and to love God first and to love our neighbor as ourselves. We all want peace. We all want healthy relationships, very healthy relationships. So let us, brothers and sisters, always be mindful of today's gospel reading. It's a formula for life. Oh Lord, help us. Enable us to love Thee, to love our neighbor, so that we may have peace, so that we may have love, so that our relationships may be healthy, and so that we may be saved. Amen.